This morning I woke up in the pitch black to the sound of my phone making a tone I've never heard before, sort of a rapid fire pinging. I turned it on to see what's going on, and there was an alert notification, a lot like the ones you see with Amber Alert. What was odd was that I couldn't close it or even turn my phone off. The screen simply would not respond to being powered off. I couldn't screenshot it either. All functions other than scrolling were disabled. But this is what it said. Alert. On 10/10/16 at 03:15 a.m. CST, the following alert was issued. Reports of anomalous signatures on radar were reported near ST Cloud. Advisory, stay indoors. Bring all house pets inside. Turn off all noise-making devices. Seek shelter in basements or rooms without windows or doors to the outside. Emergency services are suspended until 05:30/10/10/16. Threat level is severe. Obey all instructions to prevent unnecessary loss or life or property. Alert is valid until 2100 CST. Now obviously this was pretty fucking concerning. It's late in the season for any large storms, but it's not unheard of. And we've had a few tornadoes here before. I could hear rain on the window and the sound of wind. So I grabbed my 3 cats and took us down into the basement with some food and a sleeping bag. My basement is cramped, full of all kinds of junk, and I wasn't thrilled to be spending time down there. But the alternative was clearly not an option. While the cats wandered around digging in boxes, I knocked things over and had time to sit and read the alert over again, which is when things started to seem strange. I must have missed it the first time, but now I notice the warning to turn off all noise-making devices. What did that mean? Why would that be important? Even with a television at full blast, you'd certainly be able to hear a tornado coming, or at the very least, see the damage it was inflicting. I reluctantly admitted that looking at it the way it seemed, it was at least more reasonable. But now I was also looking at the alert itself. The interface of the warning wasn't one I recognized. The border wasn't consistent of an app or the OS. It had clearly been opened by a third-party app, but I wasn't sure which one, or how it could have done so. I wondered if it was a virus. I've worked in a few hours and I didn't want to stay awake for nothing. Leaving the cats downstairs, I went up to turn the television in the living room. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I couldn't help feel another jolt of fear when the same message popped up in the additional emergency broadcast. That awful clinics made my heart rate spike, so I turned it off and went back to the basement to wait it out. I sent my boss a text message on my old pay-as-you-go, which seemed to be ineffective for whatever reason, letting him know I might not make it in that day. As it turned out, he was also in his basement. He could hear the sounding of heavy rainfall and winds outside. We wished each other well, agreed that work would be cancelled, and went back to waiting. The cats settled in various places, and I curled up in the sleeping bag and fell asleep. We all woke up around the same time about an hour later. It wasn't as much as a jolt as a slow, confused awakening. Something wasn't right. The cat's eyes were wide and their fur puffed up. One of my oldest girls had her eyes locked on the filthy little window in the far corner of the room. I was absolutely overcome with a terrible sense of dread, but fantastic glances around the room were fruitless. The cats began to hiss, all of them looking at the window now, but I couldn't see anything except darkness. I turned towards the stairs and changed the direction, allowing me to hear something below that was growling and hissing. A very low hiss, not like static, but the sound of blood flowing through your ears when it's quiet. It was incredibly unsettling to hear it coming from an outside source. It was such an imminent, familiar sound, and hearing it that way was very, very wrong. And I could also hear a grizzly, what sounded like colloquial music. At this point, I convinced I was losing my mind or having an incredibly lucid dream. But when one of the cats leaped from the box to fly across the room under the stairs, I realized what it was. I ran to the box and tore it open. I dug through the contents until I felt cold metal. I lifted out the toy, which had been activated by my cat's weight, and scrambled the battery panel. Once the batteries were out and the music had stopped, I stood there breathing heavily, holding the little bear in my hands. A music box my mom gave to me as a kid. The bear, Rosie, smiled at me, and I thought I would scream. The hissing noise was louder here, oppressive. It blocked out everything, even my breath. I've heard the phrase paralyzed with fear before, but I dismissed it, thinking it was a clumsy exaggeration. But now I realize it wasn't. It was a very real feeling. The cats continued to growl and shriek. Through here, it was the middle of a sound. It was almost impossible to hear them. I had to turn around. I had to get away from the window, but I simply could not bring myself to move even a single inch. My bear grinned up at me, and I hoped I never come close to the abyss again. The feeling of my mind slipping into the endless chasms in once is something you don't forget. The bear was cold in my hands. The cat shrieked and howled, and the sound grew so loud I could feel it in my bones. The window rattled, paneled by rain and hail, and the endless hellish dark loomed closer and closer. The scream bottled up and pushed again with my teeth, and I turned to look through the dirty glass. Instantly, everything stopped. The cats, the hissing, the rain, and the wind. The basement was silent. The concentration of everything, single sound in the room was almost enough to send me tearing off the edge. I shivered and violent, suddenly freezing. Something was outside, looking at me. It glowed dimly with a strange, completely alien light, dirty orange, the color of a nuclear sunset. The panic was so great now that I had transformed into an eternal desperation. It came before the predator rips into my flesh and bones. Something was at the window. I looked at it with glassy eyes. I don't know what it was. Looking at me was painful in the way I can't describe. The sight of it, so completely foreign, made my brain feel as if it was about to explode violently outwards, tearing and seams. The only thing that comes close to an optical illusion, something that exists but cannot be. Whatever it was, it had no business here. It was a kind of cloud, solidified mist, like smoke. This smoke was very much alive and aware, and it was massive. I think it must have missed with some of my senses because I was very much cognizant in the fact that it was larger than my house, larger than many houses, and it had been drawn to the Colpic music. It watched me, shapes swirling and dissolving constantly in my body. But it had no defined shape. It flowed like water, slid down the window and rivers that did not obey gravity, but instead of searching for cracks in the glass, I was aware of time passing, a lot of time. What broke the spell was the sight of one of those drops discovering and warming its way through the hairline crack of the window frame. Perilous became flight. In what felt like an instant, I was pounding up the stairs, my mouth wrenched open in a slight howl. The cats swarmed up past me and were gone in the moment the door opened. I slammed it shut and ran for the bathroom, where I bottled the door promptly, vomited into the toilet. I flushed the strange reddish-brown contents and curled on my side, wedged between the toilet and the tub, my face against the cool portion. I passed out. When I woke up, it was half a day later, and my cats were furious at the lack of food. I've been in a daze since I woke up. The alert is gone, but it seems the phone lines are down. I have access to the internet, but it's not behaving correctly. I have access to some sites, but not others. I can't bring myself to leave the house. The sound is gone as if where was creating it, but how can I be sure it won't come back? For now, I've silenced everything. The cats are calm and sleeping, but I'm keeping an eye on them for any warning signs. I'll just keep quiet for a while. It's probably best that you keep quiet.